Today, I am pleased to present the security report for the National Electrical Grid prepared by our Resolute Blue team. As you all know, securing critical infrastructure such as the electrical grid is of the utmost importance for the safety and well-being of our society. This report aims to provide an overview of the security postures of the National Electrical Grid and highlight any potential vulnerabilities or threats that could compromise its integrity. Our Blue team has conducted extensive research and analysis to identify any weaknesses in the system and recommend measures to strengthen its security. The report covers network infrastructure, access controls, incident response, and threat intelligence. We will present our findings and recommendations clearly and concisely to help ensure that the national electrical grid remains secure and resilient against potential threats. The insights presented in this report will help inform future security strategies for the national electrical grid and contribute to ongoing efforts to maintain the safety and reliability of the energy supply for our country. Thank you for your attention, and we look forward to your feedback in this discussion. The national electrical grid is a complex system of interconnected power transmission networks and distribution systems that provide electricity to homes, businesses, and industries across the United States. It is a critical infrastructure vital in maintaining the country's economic, social, and national security. The grid is made up of thousands of power plants, transformers, transmission lines, and distribution lines managed by various stakeholders, including federal and state governments, utilities, and private utilities. However, the grid is vulnerable to multiple threats, including natural disasters, cyber attacks, physical attacks, and equipment failures. These can cause power outages, disrupt essential services, and lead to significant economic and social impacts. Therefore, ensuring the reliability, resilience, and security of the national electrical grid is crucial to maintaining the country's energy, security, and overall well-being. For us to do anything to fix or transform the national electrical grid is to acknowledge the risks the system has right now. The potential risks and impacts start with the power outages and disruptions, but they all lead to economic and social consequences. Stakeholders must address challenges and opportunities in the electrical grid system, including aging infrastructure, integration of renewable energy, cybersecurity risk, growing demand for electricity, and intelligent grid technology. Let's examine these areas in more detail and explore what can be done to improve the security and sustainability of the national electrical grid. Aging infrastructure. When we looked at the aging infrastructure of the national grid, it presented a significant challenge for grid operators. Many grid components are reaching the end of life of their usage or end of life, which can result in increased maintenance costs, reduced reliability, and increased risk of power outages. Upgrading the aging infrastructure is a complex and costly process that requires significant investment and resources. Physical attacks on the electrical grid system also pose a significant risk, with remote and isolated power lines and substations particularly vulnerable to vandalism, theft, and sabotage. Additionally, natural disasters can cause extensive damage to infrastructure, leading to widespread power outages and jeopardizing public safety and national security. The integration of renewable energy. Integration of renewable energy sources into the national electrical grid is becoming increasingly important in the global effort to combat climate change. However, it presents several challenges for grid operators. The electrical grid was designed to manage centralized power generation from large fossil fuel power plants. Integrating renewable energy sources like wind and solar, often located in remote areas, require significant investment in grid modernization upgrades to accommodate the intermittency of these energy sources. Renewable energy sources like wind and solar are variable, meaning their output is not constant and fluctuates depending upon the weather conditions. This variability can pose a challenge for grid operators who need to ensure a steady supply of electricity to meet the consumer needs. Cybersecurity risk. The national electrical grid is a vital piece of infrastructure that powers essential services in a country. However, with the increasing resilience on computer systems to manage generation, transmission, and distribution of power, the electrical grid is vulnerable to cyber attacks. These attacks pose significant cybersecurity risks that could have severe consequences on the economy and public safety. One of the most significant risks in the national electrical grid is cyber attacks on the control systems. These systems control the flow of electricity and manage grid operations. Cyber criminals can target those control systems with malware, ransomware, and other types of cyber attacks, causing blackouts, equipment damage, or disrupt power supply. A successful attack on the control system could have catastrophic consequences, affecting not only homes and businesses, but also hospitals, financial systems, and transportation. Another significant risk with cybersecurity is with the national grid is with social engineering attacks. Cyber criminals can use tactics such as phishing to trick employees of the electrical grid into divulging sensitive information such as passwords or network access credentials. This information can be used to gain unauthorized access to the grid's computer systems and cause damage or steal data. Insider threats are also significant to cybersecurity risk. Insiders, including employees and contractors on the electrical grid, may have access to sensitive information or systems and could cause damage or steal data if they have malicious intent. Supply chains are also a part of that cybersecurity threat, and the electrical grid relies on a complex supply chain of vendors, suppliers, and contractors. A cyber attack on any of these partners could compromise the security of the grid and lead to significant disruption of services. Moreover, the increasing use of the Internet of Things devices in the electrical grid, such as smart meters and sensors, present new cybersecurity risks. These devices may not have robust security measures in place, making them susceptible to hacking and cyber attacks. Demand for electricity. This one might seem obvious, but it actually is very important. Demand for electricity in the United States has been increasing steadily over the years, driven by population growth, economic development, and transportation electrification. As our reliance on electricity grows, so does the challenge of meeting this demand while maintaining grid stability and reliability. Smart grid technology. Deploying innovative grid technology is a double-edged sword for the current electrical grid system. On one hand, it has the potential to make the grid more efficient, dependable, and flexible. On the other hand, deploying this technology requires significant investment and changes to existing grid infrastructure, which can be daunting. So what can we do on these? So based on the challenges and opportunities presented in the previous discussion, here are some recommendations and solutions to improve the national electrical grid system. 1. Increase investment in grid modernization. To enhance the grid's reliability, resilience, and flexibility, it is crucial to modernize and upgrade the grid infrastructure. This requires significant investment. Stakeholders should prioritize funding and allocate resources to grid modernization. This needs to happen first if any of the current issues can be addressed. Prioritizing cybersecurity. The national electrical grid system is vulnerable to cyber attacks, and protecting the grid from these threats should be a top priority. Robust cybersecurity measures, advanced threat detection and response capabilities, and regular security audits should be implemented to enhance grid security. If this is not done, things like protecting critical infrastructure, safeguarding data, ensuring continuity of services, complying with policy and regulation, and maintaining consumer trust will not happen. Number 3, promote collaborative governance. Given the complex and interconnected nature of the national electrical grid system, promoting collaborative governance among utilities, regulators, policymakers, and other stakeholders is essential. Establishing clear communication channels and collaborative processes can help ensure that the grid operates efficiently and meets the needs of all stakeholders. Without collaboration, stakeholder engagement is lost. There's no we in the equation because shared responsibility is lost. Transparency becomes harder to realize because trust is lost. Innovation does not happen because ideas will be siloed, and resilience will be an issue because stakeholders will not discuss risks and vulnerabilities. Number 4, encourage energy efficiency. Encouraging energy efficiency is a cost-effective way to reduce electricity demand, which can help reduce strain on the grid and improve reliability. Policies, incentives, and investment should be directed towards energy-efficient appliances, buildings, and technology. By encouraging energy efficiency, We can reduce overall energy consumption, lower energy costs, enhance grid stability, promote innovation, and support economic growth. 5. Expand renewable energy integration. To reduce greenhouse gas emissions and combat climate change, it is vital to continue integrating renewable energy sources into the grid system. This requires significant investment in renewable energy infrastructure, grid flexibility, storage capacity, and new policies incentivizing renewable energy adoption. This will help with reducing greenhouse gas emissions, diversify our energy portfolio, increasing our resilience because it will help decentralize energy sources and could create more jobs and economic growth as a byproduct of these efforts. Number 6, enhance physical security measures. Deploying perimeter security, access control, surveillance, and intrusion detection systems can help prevent unauthorized access to critical infrastructure, detect and respond to intrusion, and ensure grid security. It is important because it will protect critical infrastructure, minimize risk of accidents, ensure continuity of services, comply with regulations, and maintain consumer trust. Number 7, improve information sharing coordination. Coordination among stakeholders is essential for effective grid management and incident response. Improving information sharing, coordination, and collaboration among utilities, regulators, and law enforcement and emergency responders can help mitigate the impact of any potential incident and restore power as quickly as possible. This will enhance grid resilience, minimize risk of cyber threats, improve response time, and increase efficiency. By promoting information sharing and coordination, we can achieve a more resilient and reliable electrical power grid that benefits consumers, businesses, and the environment. Number 8, conduct regular risk assessment. Regular risk assessment can identify vulnerabilities and threats to the system, enabling stakeholders to develop and implement adequate security measures and contingency plans. This includes developing and testing emergency response plans and coordinating between utility companies, law enforcement agencies, and emergency responders. This is extremely important so that potential threats can be identified, resources can be prioritized, preparedness is enhanced, regulation can be complied with, and trust between consumer and supplier is maintained. By implementing these recommendations and solutions, we can work towards a more secure, dependable, and sustainable national electrical grid system that meets the ever-changing demands for electricity. I thank you for your time.